Surf safely with McAfee Security Suite. Consolidate your contacts in one convenient place and get tons of online storage.
Get what you want. Get what you need.
Make the switch to Comcast high-speed internet with Power Boost. Just $24.99 a month for 6 months. Call 1-800-COMCAST today.
Johnny, look at all this fresh seafood. It's the key to our newest creation, Risotto di Mare.
Fresh clams, mussels, shrimp, and scallops. Fresh seafood's the most important part.
And making the risotto rich and creamy.
And it's these Italian spices that give this a little Carrabba's kick.
I love a kick, Johnny.
I know. I like all these combination of flavors that makes our Risotto di Mare an authentic Italian dish. At Carrabba's, good things happen around our table.
Max Mayfield, Local 10 weather.
Welcome to World News. Tonight, stocks get hammered as the country is officially declared to be in recession and hopes fade for strong holiday sales. New team. The president-elect's national security team includes people who opposed him and each other in the past.
I'm a strong believer in strong personalities and strong opinions.
Early warning. U.S. officials warned India weeks ago that terrorists were planning an attack on Mumbai. And final days. President Bush talks about the economy, the end of his administration, and the election. Was the election in any way a repudiation of the Bush administration? An ABC News exclusive.
From ABC News headquarters, this is World News with Charles Gibson.
Good evening. For a long time, it was a word that administration officials simply would not say: recession. Today, it was unavoidable. The group in charge of tracking such things says the U.S. has been in recession since last December, and holiday sales are not likely to turn things around. There were brisk sales on Friday when the sales were in effect, but Saturday, very little. The bleak news sent stocks reeling again. Dow Industrials were off almost 700 points. That's the fourth largest point drop in a day ever. So Sharon Alfonsi is here tonight. Sharon?
Good evening, Charlie. Well, after an unprecedented 5 days of gains on the stock market, the holiday weekend seems to have soured things. And with official word coming that we are in a recession, stocks were sent reeling.
The glow of the holiday weekend faded quickly. Stocks in the financial sector down 17%, retail down 10%.
The reality of recession might be setting in with those that weren't believing initially.
Adding fuel to the sentiments on Wall Street, the government announced that construction of new homes and businesses dropped more than expected in October, and word that production in the manufacturing sector had slowed to levels not seen in more than 30 years. So far, the government's attempts to fix the economy have been slow to show progress.
There's going to be more work that needs to be done. We haven't fixed all our problems yet. I think the market was reacting to that today.
The day started with reports of what seemed to be encouraging retail sales over the holiday weekend.
The numbers were better than expected because we were really expecting the worst.
And analysts say the extreme discounts that lured shoppers to the mall,
hey guys, everything's 50% off,
means many stores won't be able to turn a profit this year. Consider Old Navy. They offered scarves and hats for $1. Sears Outlet gave away a free washer with every dryer. And Target sold a $429 flat screen for $299.
They're paying you to take it.
Another bad sign, when the promotions ended, so did the buying. Retailers report that by Saturday, foot traffic and sales were down. Economists say shoppers blew through much of their shopping budgets on Friday and had a spending hangover by Saturday. On Monday morning, they got another headache, courtesy of the market.
It's just volatility, and volatility is going to increase until things get a little more normal in both credit markets and financial markets.
Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke said today that the government must continue to act, but conceded that one of their biggest tools, cutting interest rates, has limitations. There's not a whole lot more that can be cut. Charlie?
Sharon Alfonsi reporting on the economy tonight. Thanks. Well, President-elect Obama introduced his national security team today. It includes a number of people who have strongly opposed him in the past. The country's focus in recent weeks has been on the economy, but the terrorist attacks in India are a stark reminder of the dangerous world the new president and his new team will inherit. Jake Tapper is in Chicago again tonight. Jake?
Good evening, Charlie. Well, the president-elect called for a new dawn of American leadership in the world and heralded a new beginning for American national security. But very few of the names he introduced today were new. What was new was the concept. He took 3 of his new nominees from the worlds of his political opponents. The president-elect said pragmatism and consensus would rule his national security policy. And to that end, he formally nominated former rival Senator Hillary Clinton as the nation's top diplomat.
She possesses an extraordinary intelligence and a remarkable work ethic. I am proud that she will be our next Secretary of State.
Quite a change from their contentious primary battles.
Shame on you, Barack Obama.
In which disagreements on foreign policy were center stage.
I am proud to join you on what will be a difficult and exciting adventure in this new century. And may God bless you and all who serve with you and our great country.
The candidate who charged that both Clinton and John McCain would offer a 3rd Bush term on foreign policy announced that he would keep on Bush's defense secretary, Robert Gates, giving Gates the new mission of ending the war in Iraq, withdrawing all U.S. combat troops within 16 months, and working to create a sustainable, bipartisan national security strategy. Obama even selected a longtime friend of McCain's, retired Marine General Jim Jones, who appeared with McCain at a campaign event, as national security advisor.
I assembled this team because I'm a strong believer in strong personalities and strong opinions. I think that's how the best decisions are made. But understand, I will be setting policy as president. I will be responsible for the vision that this team carries out, and I expect them to implement that vision once decisions are made.
The hard part now, making those decisions. As with concerns that the terrorists who launched attacks in India had ties to Pakistan.
During the campaign, you said that you thought the U.S. had a right to attack high-value terrorist targets in Pakistan if given actionable intelligence with or without the Pakistani government's permission. And do you think India has that same right?
I think that sovereign nations obviously have a right to protect themselves. Beyond that, I don't want to comment on the specific situation that's taking place in South Asia right now.
In addition to those 3, Charlie, the president-elect introduced Janet Napolitano, the governor of Arizona, as his Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, Dr. Susan Rice as his United Nations ambassador, and Eric Holder as his Attorney General. He said his Attorney General would uphold the Constitution and serve all the American people, which many took as a barb aimed at President Bush's Attorneys General for not having done so. Charlie?
All right, Jake Tapper reporting in Chicago. Thanks to you. And our chief Washington correspondent, George Stephanopoulos, joins us now. George, when you look particularly at the top 3 people introduced by the president-elect today, you do shake your head a little. This is a very disparate group.
No question about it, Charlie. The president-elect said in that press conference today that the worst White Houses are overtaken by groupthink. That's not going to happen in this White House. On the other hand, beneath the surface, you do see a lot of similarities. For a military man, General Jones has also been an effective diplomat in the Middle East as a NATO commander. Secretary Gates, over the last several months, has been giving many speeches emphasizing the importance of soft power, like President-elect Obama, and to look at Vice President-elect Joe Biden as the possible glue that brings this group together. He knows every person on that stage better than President-elect Obama.
But George, isn't it something of a leap of faith to believe that you can take somebody who was a political opponent, somebody who was a supporter of McCain, somebody who comes out of the Bush administration, and make them all mesh?
One thing President-elect Obama has never lacked is confidence. He says he got it from his parents. It's his signature trait, and he believes he can bring this group together as a cohesive whole, and he thinks he'll be able to set out the vision. He knows there'll be a lot of disagreements. He knows there'll be active debate, but he believes he can do it, and so far he's been succeeding, but he has not faced that signature crisis yet that every president does face, often in the first year.
And at the news conferences, people kept bringing up conflicts that have existed in the past between the president-elect and the people he was naming. He said, well, I know you're having fun with all of this, but I can make it work.
He definitely said that, and he actually chided the press for bringing it up. And again, underneath it all, on the big core principles of where this nation should go, there is a lot of underlying agreement.
All right, George Stephanopoulos in Washington, thanks to you. And still ahead on World News, how terrorists pulled off the attack on Mumbai. A surviving gunman is talking, and we learned today the U.S. warned India of a pending attack. And our exclusive interview with President Bush, the surprises of the job and the economic crisis.
They don't waste any time. I noticed.
This is World News with Charles Gibson. Brought to you by Riddex.
First, we dig a hole next to the house and check for clogged pipes. If that's not it, we dig by the septic tank, check for leaks. If it's not there, we dig up the leach fields until we find the problem. This 60-year-old tree might have to go. Average repair cost, $6,000. Monthly maintenance with Riddex, about $6.
Riddex uses 100% natural bacteria and enzymes to break down waste, even paper. Use Riddex monthly to help keep your septic system operating efficiently between pumpings.
I'm Mark Goldston, Chairman and CEO of NetZero. All internet providers take you to the same internet, so why pay more to get there? NetZero is only $9.95 a month, and we give you a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call 1-800-NET-ZERO or visit netzero.com.
Serious sore throat sufferers know there's nothing worse than a sore throat with a bad cough. Only new Cepacol Sore Throat Plus Cough Spray has the power to stop both fast.
Thank you.
Only Cepacol stops both fast.
I know rheumatoid arthritis is painful, but I didn't know it could attack my joints.
Scientists believe that in moderate to severe RA, your immune system can cause serious damage.
But Enbrel enables me to fight progressive joint damage.
Enbrel works on your immune system to suppress inflammation, help relieve pain and fatigue, and keep joint damage from getting worse.
Enbrel gives me energy to do many of the things I love.
Because prescription Enbrel suppresses your immune system, it may lower your ability to fight infections such as the flu. So don't start it if you have one. Tell your doctor if you're prone to infections, have an open sore, have had hepatitis B, have been treated for heart failure, or if, while on Enbrel, you experience persistent fever, bruising, bleeding, or paleness. Serious, sometimes fatal events including infections, tuberculosis, lymphoma, and nervous system and blood disorders have occurred.
Ask your rheumatologist and envision your possibilities with Enbrel.
There's new information tonight about the terrorist attacks in Mumbai, India, and new questions about what the Indian government knew concerning the possibility of an attack. And our chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross, joins us. There was intelligence an attack was coming?
Indeed, very good intelligence, Charlie. U.S. officials tell us that there was a warning given to Indians in the mid-October range of an oncoming attack that would come from the sea against hotels and business centers in Mumbai, and they named the Taj Mahal Hotel specifically.
Very specific. And the Indian government also had intelligence?
That's right. And then November 18th, the Indian government, with its very good intelligence operation, picked up a satellite phone call, apparently from Pakistan, that indicated an attack would come from the sea against those hotels. So they had two very solid pieces of information. They took some precautions, but then they were eased because the precautions proved to be burdensome to the hotel owners.
Will, and this group, Lashkar-e-Taiba,
right,
that very few people had heard of before. Do we know if this group has ties to the Pakistani government?
It was originally formed with the help of the Pakistani Intelligence Service, the ISI. It was abolished in 2002 by President Musharraf, but continues to operate in the same tribal areas as Al-Qaeda, where it shares training camps, information, and weapons.
But does it have ties to the current Pakistani government?
The Pakistani government says not. The Indians say they think it does. The fact is, though, that the rapprochement between Pakistan and India in the last few months now being upset, Al-Qaeda primarily benefits from these attacks.
All right, Brian Ross, our chief investigative correspondent. Thanks. Well, the question everyone is asking, besides who are these terrorists, is how did they do it? How did a small group wreak so much havoc for so long, smack in the middle of a major Indian city, killing at least 172 people and wounding hundreds more? Here's Dan Harris.
Today, as the people of Mumbai held funerals and candlelight vigils, Indian investigators learned more about the plot from the only terrorist taken alive. A senior Indian police source tells ABC News that 21-year-old Ajmal Amir Kasab has admitted to being a member of Lashkar-e-Taiba, a Pakistani Islamist group. Kasab has said he and his team had more than a year of military-style training. From what ABC News can piece together, the 10 terrorists left from the Pakistani city of Karachi in a boat. En route, they hijacked an Indian trawler and killed the crew. On Wednesday night at around 8:30, the attackers piled into this rubber dinghy and came ashore with bags filled with rifles, pistols, grenades, dried fruit, and cell phones. There, they broke into 4 teams, some of them reportedly hailing taxis. At around 9:30, the shooting began. Cafe Leopold, popular with Westerners, was among the first targets.
They're just randomly firing.
Just trying to hit anybody.
Anybody.
Then, in rapid succession, they hit a train station, a movie theater, a hospital. And finally, they dug in for the sieges at the Taj Hotel, the Oberoi Hotel, and a Jewish center. In the Taj, they set fires and went room to room, ruthlessly shooting people at close range. Michael and Angelique Pollock decided to split up so their children would have at least one surviving parent.
I was so sure that I wasn't coming back, and I just hoped he was going to go home for the kids.
Amazingly, the Indian official who's in charge of the investigation insists it was only 10 attackers who paralyzed this city for nearly 60 hours. He does, however, say it is possible they had local accomplices who gave logistical assistance. He says the terrorists did have an escape plan, but it may have been a formality. He believes they knew well before they were taken down by Indian commandos that theirs was a one-way mission. Dan Harris, ABC News, Mumbai.
The anatomy of the attack. In Venice today, the canals weren't the only avenues in the city filled with water. The worst flooding in more than 20 years forced residents and tourists to wade through knee-high water, which rose nearly 2 feet above flood stage, forcing many of the city's water taxis to suspend operations. And today, the U.S. and other countries mark the 20th World AIDS Day. At the White House, where a huge red ribbon was draped, President Bush said his initiative to treat 2 million people with AIDS in sub-Saharan Africa has met its goal. And part of the AIDS memorial quilt was put on display at the Clinton Presidential Center in Little Rock, Arkansas. More than 1 million people in this country and more than 33 million worldwide are living with HIV/AIDS. Coming up, our interview with President Bush. Does he blame himself for the country's economic crisis or for the McCain defeat?
Feeling that big cold all over your body? Immerse yourself in total cold relief with Alka-Seltzer Plus, liquid medicine that speeds relief to every inch of you. For big relief fast, Alka-Seltzer Plus liquidates your big cold all over. Also available in liquid gel and liquid. And now break free from chest congestion and coughing with new Alka-Seltzer Plus mucus and congestion.
It seems like every day, science discovers another reason why the nutrients in orange juice are good for you. And the list just keeps growing. So don't miss your morning glass. Florida orange juice. Healthy, pure, and simple.
The doctor will be just a few minutes.
Okay.
Uh-oh, here she comes again. I know you're here for a checkup, but maybe you should tell them about that bladder control problem.
What bladder control problem?
Well, you've already made a couple of trips. That last one nearly knocked me off the door.
Sorry.
You need to have the Detrol discussion with the doctor.
Detrol?
Detrol LA. It's the #1 prescribed brand to help calm that
gotta go feeling.
Just one pill. Works all day and all night.
Barbara?
And tell them how you feel.
Like my bladder's running my life.
If you've certain stomach problems, glaucoma, or trouble getting urine to pass, you shouldn't take Detrol LA. The most common side effects are dry mouth, headache, constipation, and abdominal pain. Ask your doctor if Detrol LA is right for you.
So, Barbara, how have you been?
She wants to have...
I want to have the Detrol discussion.
Glad I could help.
Steaming is such an important part of fresh Asian cuisine.
Our innovative steamer cooks right in your microwave.
For tender chicken and fluffy rice in a delicious sweet and spicy sauce.
New Asian-inspired Healthy Choice Cafe steamers in 4 authentic recipes.
Tomorrow, the Big Three's new detailed plans. Will it include making better cars? Will it change the entire auto industry? Can they survive even with the money? Plus, Charlie Gibson with the President and First Lady in these final days. Tomorrow on World News.
50 days from today, President Bush will leave office. And in these final days, he's reflecting on his 8 years in the White House, leading a nation at war and in economic turmoil. Much has been made of his historically low approval ratings, but Mr. Bush tells us he's leaving office with his head held high. We had a chance to talk with the president aboard Marine One, his helicopter, and at Camp David as he headed to his Thanksgiving celebration.
Hey, hi, Charlie.
We met the Bushes in the diplomatic room of the White House.
Charlie,
President,
welcome.
Prior to flying up to Camp David on the president's helicopter, Marine One.
I'm glad to give you a ride on the magic carpet. Frankly, it's one of the great luxuries of the presidency.
By chopper, Camp David, high in Maryland's Catoctin Mountains, is half an hour. Nice ride. We talked along the way about the Obama family visit to the White House and the fact that the president-elect's family found it less foreboding, homier actually, than they'd expected. And the president thought it would be a good place for the Obama girls to grow up.
The White House is really neat, obviously, and there's a lot of beautiful antique furniture. As Laura said, get your feet off the Jefferson table, your coffee mug off the Grant table, but they will fill that house with love.
The president is going to be doing a series of what the White House calls exit interviews over the next few weeks. Ours was the first, and we started with the economy. Do you feel in any way responsible for what's happening?
You know, I'm the president during this period of time, but I think when the history of this period is written, people will realize a lot of the decisions that were made on Wall Street took place over, you know, a decade or so before I arrived in president, during I arrived in president. I'm sorry it's happening, of course. Obviously, I don't like the idea of people losing jobs or being worried about their 401ks. On the other hand, the American people got to know that we will safeguard the system. I mean, we're in, and if we need to be in more, we will.
But was there an uh-oh moment, and I could probably use stronger language than that,
Yeah.
when you thought this really could be bad?
When you have Secretary of the Treasury and the Chairman of the Fed say, if we don't act boldly, we could be in a depression, Great Depression. That's an uh-oh moment. But the question is it worth it to save the system, to safeguard the system? And I came to the conclusion, along with other smart people, that it is.
I have found you to be an excellent political analyst and commentator.
Why? I try not to.
What did you think of the campaign?
I thought my candidate for president, John McCain, had a tough headwind for two reasons. One, rarely do the American people give a political party 3 terms. That in itself was difficult for him. Obviously, the economic situation made it awfully difficult for John McCain to get a message out. And I felt that Barack Obama ran a very disciplined campaign.
Given the conditions and the economy, is there any way John McCain could have won?
It's hard to see it in retrospect. I think the interesting thing about the way people analyze campaigns, though, is they always look at the negative side. The positive side is, from Barack Obama's perspective, is he ran a really good campaign. I mean, this guy, I'm told, raised $150 million in 1 month. That meant a lot of people were for him for president.
Was the election in any way a repudiation of the Bush administration?
I think it was a repudiation of Republicans. And I'm sure some people voted for Barack Obama because of me. I think most people voted for Barack Obama because they decided they wanted him to be in their living room for the next 4 years explaining policy. In other words, they made a conscious choice to put him in as president.
But both candidates wound up criticizing you a lot.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you're the incumbent and during a tough economic time. But
hurt?
No, not really. I mean, I've been around politics a long time. Remember, I was the guy in 2000 who campaigned for change. I campaigned for change when I ran for governor of Texas. The only time I really didn't campaign for change is when I was running for re-election.
Let's talk a little bit about 8 years as being president. What were you most unprepared for?
Well, I think I was unprepared for war. In other words, I didn't campaign and said, please vote for me, I'll be able to handle an attack. In other words, I didn't anticipate war. Presidents, one of the things about the modern presidency is that the unexpected will happen.
What don't the American people know about being president? What would surprise them the most?
I think people look at the White House and say, oh man, what a miserable experience it is to be president. You know, there's a lot of noise, a lot of criticism, a lot of name calling, a lot of this, a lot of that. There's some days we're not so happy, some days happy. Every day's been pretty joyous, though.
That's the second time I've heard you use the word joyful. about the presidency, and that might take people by surprise, even in really tough times.
Oh, yeah. I don't want people to misconstrue. It's not, I don't feel joyful when somebody loses their life, nor do I feel joyful when somebody loses a job. That concerns me. And, you know, a president ends up, you know, carrying a lot of people's grief in his soul. But the idea of being able to serve a nation you love has been joyful. In other words, my spirits have never been down. I have been sad, but the spirits are up.
And when we come back, President Bush, his wife, and his daughter on the next Commander-in-Chief.
Tired of morning coming in the middle of the night? Ask your prescriber about 2-layer Ambien CR. The first layer dissolves quickly to help you fall asleep, and unlike other sleep aids, a second dissolves slowly to help you stay asleep. Until you know how Ambien CR will affect you, you shouldn't drive or operate machinery. Plan to devote 7 to 8 hours to sleep before being active. Sleepwalking and eating or driving while not fully awake with amnesia for the event have been reported. In rare cases, severe allergic reactions can occur. If you experience any of these behaviors or reactions, contact your doctor immediately. Side effects may include next-day drowsiness, dizziness, and headache. It's non-narcotic and can be taken for as long as your prescriber recommends. Like most sleep aids, it has some risk of dependency. Don't take it with alcohol. To wake up ready for your day, ask your prescriber for 2-layer Ambien CR.
Robitussin knows one of the reasons we cough is to help clear away mucus. Robitussin DM Max has a double dose of the medicine that helps clear mucus while also controlling your cough. Robitussin DM Max, double the strength against mucus for a reason.
Today I found out that my funny bone is sick and that my drug plan's monthly premium has changed. So I compared other plans and found similar coverage at a better price.
Now's the time to review and compare Medicare prescription drug plans. And from November 15th to December 31st, you can even change your plan. Call 1-800-MEDICARE or go to Medicare.gov and use the Plan Finder to see options in your state.
Your funny bone is better now.
And so is my prescription drug plan.
For the price of a night in, how about a night out? Introducing Applebee's 2 for $20 menu. 1 great appetizer to share, 2 amazing entrees, and lots of choice. Applebee's 2 for $20, the best deal in the neighborhood.
We have to go back!
ABC's Lost, the premiere event, Wednesday, January 21st on ABC.
In just one day, where will Britney Spears be celebrating her birthday?
Good morning, America.
Britney, finally, in the concert event of the year.
Come on, blow out the candles with me.
Tomorrow, only on ABC's Good Morning America.
Now, how sweet is that?
Finally tonight, as we were leaving the White House for Camp David, I asked President Bush, Mrs. Bush, and their daughter Barbara about the historic nature of Barack Obama's election.
It's going to be an exciting time for America. I look at this, you know, as I'm sorry our candidate lost. I was a strong supporter of Senator McCain. On the other hand, the election of Barack Obama is going to lift our spirits in many ways.
Do you ever think you'd see it in African American in your lifetime? No. Do you ever think you'd see it in your lifetime?
Probably not. I mean, I'm not surprised in many ways, but I don't know if I expected.
It's hard to believe it, having grown up, you know, come to age in the 60s.
Also with us for the trip to Camp David, their daughter, Barbara Bush. Did you ever expect to see it in your lifetime?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm really impressed, but I don't think it's surprising at all.
Sure.
Such is the difference in generations. But then, the president had the last word.
You really never assumed her father would be president.
I should have done that at the time. That was the surprise for her. Well, tomorrow we'll have more of our conversation with the president and Mrs. Bush, both of them reflecting on the highs and lows of 8 years in the White House and what is next for the two of them. That is World News for this Monday. I'm Charlie Gibson, and I hope you had a good day. For all of us at ABC News, have a good night.
We can't talk to the year's most fascinating people, but Barbara Walters can.
Are you a good man?
And she'll reveal who's #1. Barbara Walters' 10 Most Fascinating People of 2008. Thursday, 10/9 Central on ABC.
There's a special time of year when castle spires glisten with sparkling ice. When voices of a candlelit choir skip across the air. And when the world just seems a little bit brighter. Holiday magic unfolds everywhere around our world. Come celebrate it all with a Disney Annual Pass at the place where dreams come true.
The key to a great Marsala sauce is the wine.
And our wine's been made by the Lombardo family in Sicily for over 100 years.
At Carrabba's, making our Marsala sauce takes patience. We take the wine, the prosciutto, the mushrooms, and the butter, and we reduce it down until all the flavors blend together perfectly.
Marsala sauce over our grilled chicken and sirloin.
Mwah! Delicioso.
2 Marsala favorites, 1 plate. At Carrabba's, good things happen around our table.
Here's what's on Local 10 tonight.
Big money, big money. I know what you're thinking. I wish I could go on Wheel and get my hands on some of that big money and meet Pat and Vanna. Hey, it could happen. You gotta have dreams, right? In the meantime, we're giving away $5K every day to one of our viewers. And today, it could be you. Right here on, come on, say it with me now.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pat Sajak and Vanna White.
Hello. Buddy, is it December already? My God. Thank you, folks. Thank you, Charlie. How nice of you to welcome us in that enthusiastic manner. Hi, guys. Well, we're all ready. The players are set. They have pictures of Vanna's den behind them. Get ready for their first toss-up, everybody. Phrase is the category, and here we go. And it's April.
Some assembly required.
Yep, that's it. Nice going. April Christie.
Yes.
Bothell, Washington, it says
right.
here. Married? How long has this been going on?
Just over a year.
Yeah, and you spent your honeymoon?
In Europe, traveling Western Europe by backpack and bus.
I bet it was tons of fun.
It was fabulous.
What do you do? What do you enjoy doing?
We like to hike and camp. We have a beautiful husky that we spend a lot of time with, walking and playing at the park. And
life's pretty good, huh?
It is.
All right. Good luck to you on the show.
Thank you.
This is Richard Lohr from the beautiful town of Claremont, California.
Thank you.
You're in the vending machine business.
Yes, sir. I just actually started my own vending machine business. Just got out of the Air Force. Pretty much trying to do the college student thing and make a successful business right now.
Good. Well, I hope this transition's going well for you. And